Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to the Ready to Bloom podcast, which features interviews with inspiring women entrepreneurs from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, without further ado, I'll hand you over to your host, Holly Wharton.
Hello and welcome to the Ready to Bloom podcast, episode 118. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm here with today's special guest, Michelle Wildman. Michelle is a professional photographer who works with female entrepreneurs and business owners across the UK. She believes passionately in women and in their ability to grow powerful, meaningful businesses, and her zone of genius lies in creating beautiful images that not only enhance profitability, client retention, and brand image, but also inspire and uplift on a personal level. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, Holly. It's so great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I'm so excited to have you on the show because I love your work. So let's talk about photography.
Please, yes.
But first of all, let's start about talking about your business and your background and how you got to where you are today, because photography is one of those things that I think a lot of people do as a hobby, but they think, oh, I could never turn that into a business. So how did that happen for you?
Well, it was actually, my journey was kind of as you described then. So I have always been an avid photographer and always loved it. Obviously didn't really get to grips with the very technical aspect of it until just a few years ago, but just really loved it. And I guess my journey started back in 2010 when my husband and I went on a 6-month trip around the world, and I just took a little camera with me to get some holiday snaps. And during that time, you know, we saw some really beautiful, incredible places, and I took a lot of photos, and I started to realize, you know, I'm not like terrible at this, and B, oh my God, I really love this. And that trip was also a period of kind of reflection for me and a catalyst for some big changes in my life that I had the opportunity to think about while I was away. So it kind of synced up quite nicely in that, you know, amazing way that coincidences do. And when I came back, I decided that the corporate life that I had built for myself was definitely not for me anymore. And I was very much ready to kind of listen to my heart and to be the entrepreneur that I've always dreamed of being. So when I returned from that trip, I began to build my business and began training and buying all my horrendously expensive camera kit and all of that kind of stuff. And in terms of jobs and stuff, my background is actually as a web designer and an e-commerce consultant. So I was doing that part-time to begin with as I built my business, and then I went full-time eventually, which was fabulous. And since that moment, I guess my photography business has definitely grown and changed, and you know, my focus has evolved. And I'm, as you know, you start off not really knowing anything, and it's an incredible learning experience and the most kind of challenging but rewarding thing in my opinion that you can do. And so now, you know, I'm in a lovely position of being crystal clear about who my clients are and what they want and how I can best serve them. And I really feel like, to use Gay Hendrix's phrase, I'm kind of in my zone of genius with what I'm doing right now. It's been, you know, several years in the making and a challenging but wonderful journey.
And how did you find your zone of genius? Because I think so many of us have read that book and we thought, yeah, that would be nice and fine, but how do I know what the heck it is? So how did you find yours?
Oh, such a good question. I think, to be honest with you, this might be different for other people, but for me, it was kind of trial and error. And also just, you know, you do have those nagging intuitive nudges as well. So for me, kind of a combination of both. So I started off when I started my photography business a number of years ago, doing a lot of weddings and doing, you know, a few bits and bobs, basically taking on any work at all just to kind of get the business off the ground. And since then, it's been a process of shooting several different genres, working with different clients and stuff. And you know, when you try something out, you know whether it's for you or it's not. Or did you enjoy working with that type of client, or didn't you? Or were you creatively fulfilled by it or not? Or did you get kind of shivers when you were doing it, or, you know, all of that stuff? And I think also you grow in confidence as well, and you begin to say to yourself, okay, you know, that really worked for me. So I think I'm going to honor that feeling and kind of follow that feeling. And conversely, you know, when you haven't actually particularly enjoyed something, you have the confidence to say, actually, I'm not going to put myself through that again. Like, I'm not going to pursue those clients, even if it means kind of short-term gain in terms of finances. So it's definitely just a process of evolution, I would say. And, you know, a lot of the big business courses and online courses that you do are, you know, very structured around kind of customer avatar and all of that kind of stuff. But I think for me, if you're right at the beginning of your journey, you can definitely have a stab at that. But until you actually get into the nuts and bolts of doing your business for quite a long time, you don't really know your ideal client, and you don't know yourself enough yet to know what you're going to be brilliant at and what you're going to love. So you just kind of have to try it out, really.
Yes, I totally agree. Now, that is very brave of you to not take on clients that you knew weren't right for you. So how did you get the courage to do that? Because I think a lot of us know that deep down. Well, you know, I can do this, I can make money in it, but I need to not take on that work because I know my zone of genius is in this other area. But it's when you're building a business, it's so hard because you feel like you should take all the clients. So how did you do that? How did you get the courage to make that decision?
Well, I think initially I'm a big believer in kind of the universe and stuff. For me, I think my first couple of opportunities to do that were quite extreme cases. So, for example, you know, it was a client that had just totally pushed all my buttons in every way, was completely unreliable, you know, didn't pay on time, kept asking for more and more and more and more and more discounts. And, you know, just basically if a client makes you feel resentful or undervalued or a bit, you know, peed off, like you're not going to enjoy serving that client, spending time with them. And so I think you have to ask, is it worth it? You know, is that however much money it is to you, is it really worth the kind of the hassle, the dent to your confidence potentially that client might introduce? Because I think, you know, especially when you're in the building stages of your business, it's incredibly important to keep your mindset positive. And it can just take the smallest little thing or little comment from someone to totally like destroy your hard-won confidence, and really kind of put your business back on the back foot. And so I think you have to kind of guard your headspace quite strongly. And if you get that kind of feeling that this client is gonna, you know, they're not going to be good for me, they're not going to put me in a good space, you can just, you know, be quite clear about, no, that's cool, thank you so much. And by the way, if you're looking for this, like, here's a couple of other people that I can suggest that might be able to help you and stuff. So it doesn't have to be confrontational or negative. It can be done in a really centered, loving way, because you're literally helping that person to find someone else that's actually going to be a better fit for them, whilst at the same time also making room in your business and your schedule to welcome in clients that actually really do appreciate you.
Yes, I think that's a really good point. And I think that can be so challenging for people to do, but you do need to make that space for the clients that you do want to work with. So, Michelle, one of the things that I really wanted to chat with you about today is how women entrepreneurs can use photos online to actually grow their business. Because you mentioned that having great photographs can enhance your profitability, your client retention, and your brand image. So let's chat a little bit about that. What are your top tips on how you can use photographs to actually grow your business?
Absolutely. Okay. Well, this is, you know, my zone of genius, I guess. And so it's a pleasure to talk about it. And so from, you know, to answer these questions, I'm bringing my background from web design and e-commerce and also photography. So those two things marry together really well for me. As we know, you know, we're living in an online world now, and most entrepreneurs, most businesses are going to have a web presence, whether that's a single website, whether it's a blog, your social media profiles, etc., etc. And, you know, a lot of your listeners, Holly, and a lot of my clients are going to be ladies that their business is primarily based online. So, you know, it's even more important than for a bricks and mortar store, for example. Photography online is the opportunity to allow your clients to meet you face to face. without actually kind of physically being with them. And so, it can be incredibly powerful. And the way that I work with my clients is very much about authenticity, like real, true authenticity. And that's why I spend a lot of time with my clients before we shoot, kind of diving into their brand and who they are and their personality and all of that good stuff. So that when we come to shoot, it really just feels like this lovely amalgamation of everything we've previously been through, and the images feel really good and really authentic to them. And so I think if you have the right images of yourself, they can absolutely help you attract the right clients, because there are going to be some people that come to your website and see a picture of you and just go, she looks nice, but probably not for me. And there are going to be some people that come to your website and they're going to see that image and it's going to be like, oh my God, there's my new best friend. Like, I absolutely love her, and they're going to totally connect with you. So, a set of brilliant images can be so powerful in that they might not even have to read all the copy on your website. If you've got great images, it's visually appealing, they're instantly hooked in, and it gives them a very good sense straight away of who you are. So that's kind of the first thing. And then secondly, it can really tell the story of your business. So for most of us, we're solopreneurs, or maybe we work with a few other people. And so we very much are our own brand. And having wonderful photographs of yourself can really up-level your brand image. And by that I mean, if you have photos of you that are kind of dark and crappy and you can't really see what's going on, and maybe they're from last summer holiday and you've got sunglasses on, having a professionally taken image of you doing your thing, shining really brightly, is going to instantly up-level the quality of your website and your brand. And it allows you to, as I said, tell the story. So actually allow people to get to know you underneath the quote-unquote facade of your brand. So when I shoot for my clients, we shoot in a place that's comfortable for them. We integrate outfits and stuff that they absolutely love and they feel fabulous in. If they've got kind of pets or family or hobbies or whatever, and they want to kind of tell the story of themselves as a person, then we wend that in with the storyline. And it really helps to show you as a person, not just a brand, which is incredibly important when you are your business as kind of a solopreneur. So those are kind of the main outlines. And then to get specific, in terms of where you can actually use your images. So definitely on the homepage. As we know, that's kind of the most visited page of the site usually. And having a really beautiful banner image, or, like a big bold image of yourself or your business on that front homepage can be especially powerful and can make sure that people kind of stay on the site, click through, read, etc., etc. Your about page, again, I believe statistically is the second most viewed page on your site. And because people, they really want to connect with you. They want to know who you are. And so again, stuff like portraiture, storytelling, lifestyle imagery and stuff on your about page can be incredibly powerful. And then there are the smaller areas of the site. So for example, your buttons and your sidebars and stuff like that. So here we are just adding visual interest. We're reinforcing that professional image throughout, up-leveling the branding, making the website feel really gorgeous and evocative. And that's, of course, excluding social media. So social media, obviously, again, super important to have consistent branding across all of your online presences. So you can use them for Facebook banners, Facebook profile pictures, posts within your Facebook page, obviously the same for Twitter, Instagram, Google+, whatever you use. And then, guest posting. For example, me being on your podcast today, I have my professional headshot, which I sent to you. So it's very quick and simple to share your message with others. And on your own blog posts, one thing I always make sure that I do with my clients is we cover off any topics that they blog about regularly. So, for example, if you're a health coach, you might talk about recipes or, exercising or whatever. And so capturing some personalized images of those topics that you can use in those blog posts again adds visual interest to them, makes them feel relevant, and prevents you from having to use stock imagery perhaps that feels really inauthentic and really yucky.
Mm-hmm. And just doesn't reflect the feeling of you and your brand. It can be so cold.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So lifestyle imagery and lifestyle photo shoots, I feel like it's becoming more of a thing now on people's websites, and I love it because it really shows you kind of a different side of that person. It's not just a headshot that's pretty. So if someone wants to get kind of a lifestyle photo shoot done, what types of photos should they ask for, and what do they need to have in mind that they might not have to think about for just a standard studio shoot?
Well, I think, that we're lucky enough to have a variety of photographers now in the industry, and you can pretty much pick someone whose style you like and who you personally resonate with. And that's, one bit of advice I would offer is that it's incredibly important that you feel really comfortable and connected to the person that you choose to shoot with, because it is actually quite not in a dodgy way, but quite an intimate thing to do with someone, to kind of invite them into your world and to allow them to photograph you and spend sort of intimate time with you, if you will. And so it's super important that you feel cool with that person, and you've hung out before the shoot, and you just hopefully on the day it will feel like you're just hanging out with your friend and you just happen to take some photos, rather than, oh my God, this is really scary and I feel really nervous and tense and this stranger is kind of bossing me around and all of this kind of stuff. So I think, first of all, make sure you work with someone that you just love, and personally as well as their work. I've made that mistake myself before, hiring a photographer that I love their work, but actually really didn't get on with them on a personal level, so bear that in mind. In terms of getting a lovely range of lifestyle imagery, you've got to look at someone's portfolio as well and see, can they do that? Because everyone has their style, and some people like to shoot quite formal stuff, corporate portraits and that kind of thing. Some people like to shoot reportage, which is sort of photojournalism, so capturing stuff as it happens and not doing any styled portraits or posed shots or anything like that. So you're really looking for someone that can capture the breadth of photography requirements that you personally need. But just as a general kind of rundown of types of shots that I have found to be especially useful and I would recommend. Firstly, the classic headshot. So if possible, have several of these, because it's nice to be able to have a bit of variety throughout. So for this, you want kind of probably waist upwards or even closer up to your headshot, hence the name headshot. Eyes to camera, a smile or at least a friendly expression, open body language, no crossed arms or crossed legs, etc. And this kind of classic headshot is so versatile and can be used for, things like social media profile pictures or guest blogs or on your about page, etc. So that is a definite go-to. Secondly, what I like to call offset images. So make sure that your photographer takes some images of you where you are sitting to one side or the other in the frame.
Yes.
Because these work super well for banner images and stuff like that, where you can also for sales pages and things, you can overlay graphics and text onto the side of the frame that you are not in, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And you can do some fun stuff, if you want to, with you like pointing to a blank space or whatever, and then when you overlay that graphic or that text, it looks like you're kind of inviting people to click on it or to look at it, which can be quite fun. So, make sure that when you get your images, there are images in there with negative space or kind of space where you are not in the image. Try not to pick images where you are taking over the whole frame, if that makes sense, because then if you overlay anything, it's going to be over your face, and let's face it, that's not going to look good.
Yeah, those kinds of shots are great for social media, so people can actually see your face when it's super tiny, but it's not super versatile for other things.
Exactly. And also, if products are relevant to you, so if you have any products in your business, it could be a book that you're releasing, it might be, physical products that you have, maybe you have an Etsy shop or, whatever. make sure that your photographer is going to take some promotional shots of those for you as well. So a couple of my clients have had books published and stuff, and we've made sure that we've got kind of fun shots of them reading the book or holding the book, or, you know, kind of advertising the book basically. And then also getting some still life shots of those products on their own. So if you have a product page or an e-commerce shop or whatever, you've actually got some really nice pro shots of your products that are actually going to sell. And then 2 other ones. So number 4, the fun lifestyle shots. So, you know, this kind of loops back to what we were saying earlier about telling your story and lifestyle photography being a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more authentic. And so this is, for me, this is kind of where the magic kind of comes in and the fun comes in. So it's actually allowing yourself to be portrayed doing the things that you love, and whether that's, you know, working in your business. So it might be, if you're a coach, for example, and you coach via Skype, you might have some really nice shots of you sitting at your beautiful desk, you know, with your notepads and a beautiful bunch of fresh flowers next to you or whatever it is, so that it looks fun and professional and friendly. If you're, you know, a yoga instructor, it might be you actually doing your yoga poses or kind of having a gorgeous walk out in nature somewhere, you know. So it's starting to brainstorm together, hopefully, with your photographer. What are those gorgeous shots that are going to tell the story of who I am, so that I can connect with my ideal clients whilst also looking really professional and really good? And then finally, it's the kind of the miniature stock portfolio. So as I mentioned earlier, for blog posts and stuff, what still life images are going to be useful for you generally? If you blog about certain topics, get some stuff to do with that. And so you're just basically building up this portfolio, this set of images where, regardless of whatever requirement it is that you've come up against, you're going to quickly be able to go into that portfolio and be like, yep, that's exactly what I want. There it is, bang, done. So, yeah, that's my list.
Excellent. I love that. That really, really broke things down. Because I think people, it's so easy to see photographs that you like, but once you've got your photographs, if you don't have all those different kinds, you kind of feel like, oh, I love this picture of me, but it doesn't work for this other thing. So that's really, really useful to know. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about is, I think a lot of people put off having photographs done because, you know, my hair is growing out, or I need to lose a few pounds, or something's just not right, or my skin, or something. So why are all of these things excuses and not reasons? And why do we need to have the pictures taken now? Because this is who we are.
Is there any kind of autobiographical element to that at all?
There's a bit of it, yeah, because I had photographs taken last year and I love them. But I would like to have, you know, more of a lifestyle shoot done. But, you know, I'm feeling a little awkward about that because I would like to lose some weight. My thyroid is off, I've gained some weight, and I feel like I don't want to have pictures at this weight. So I know I've heard other women say this as well. So, you know, why are these things excuses? I mean, this is who I am. This is what I look like. I walk out of my house every day like this. So, you know, it's not like I'm hiding under the bed.
Yeah.
So, you know, why is it okay? And why do we need to give ourselves permission to just have these photographs done now? Because this is who we are at this time.
Oh, well, I mean, in all honesty, if I had a pound for every person that said, I hate having my photo taken, or I need to lose weight before my photo shoot, I would be a very rich lady. So it is definitely, literally for 99.999% of my clients, probably one of the first things that comes out of their mouth when they talk to me. So I'm very, very used to that. Really, it's a fear that we all have about everything. It's the fear of visibility, and it's the fear of not being enough. And it's you know, it's not just photos, it's so many things in life where we feel like, I'll be happy when ... or I'll do this when ... and we kind of put it off, expecting this magical point in the future to come where everything is perfect and, you know, we can just sail through life and it's all going to be wonderful. You know, and let's face it, unless you're a professional model, being in front of a camera and having photos taken for, you know, several hours is not something that we do in our day-to-day lives. You know, it's it is a bit of a special occasion, shall we say. So again, it's completely normal and natural to feel like that. I think it's, it's very much about visibility. And a lot of my clients say, oh my God, like, if I put these photos out there, what are my parents going to say? What are my, my friends or my clients going to think? And, that there's that fear of what do other people think. And it's very coupled with that, it's the discomfort of thinking about being in front of the camera. So perhaps you've seen photographs of yourself in the past where you thought, oh my God, like I just look awful. And it really kind of sends you on a massive downer for a while, because you think, oh God, I really need to lose like 100 pounds or whatever.
Do I really look that bad?
Exactly. So I think it helps for that particular problem to distinguish between, an incredibly badly lit snap of you eating at your friend's birthday party, which was taken without your knowledge, from, a professionally lit, styled and shot image of you looking your absolute best, being totally in the moment, shining your light really brightly, being really joyful and happy, and really connecting through that image. Those two experiences are very different, and the results are incredibly different as well. And I'm a professional. Like, photography is what I do for a living, and I understand being one myself. I understand women's bodies very well, and I understand how important business is to them, and I understand what it feels like to be in front of the lens. So I'm skilled at making people look good, I guess, or making people look their best. Because there's a lot that you can do with camera angles and lighting and all of that lovely stuff that, it's not about changing who you are. It's not about waiting until, you're a size 8 supermodel before having your pictures taken, or, you've had a course of 125 facials and you never ever have a spot ever again. It's not about waiting for that. It's about, you said the word earlier, it's about giving yourself permission to be seen right now. And what I find is that the more I work with the wonderful women that I work with, the more I realise that this process of stepping up is not only beneficial to their clients, and not only kind of up levels their business on the external end, shall we say, but it's also very much about, it's a very personal process of allowing yourself to step up and be seen yourself, and to believe that you are beautiful and you are worthy of professional pictures, and you are ready to be seen, and you're really proud of yourself. It's okay for you to love yourself and think that you're beautiful and be proud of yourself. And that is absolutely what gives me most joy about what I do. When my clients come to me and they're in tears because they've just seen their photos for the first time, hopefully happy tears, I stress here. I'm not like, oh my God, they're so awful. And they say, actually, I've never felt so beautiful. Like, you just made me feel so amazing. And I love the images so much. And that to me is just, this is why I do it. It's so satisfying. And I think it's, I recognise that it can be a deeply personal experience, photography. And unlike web design, where, you're effectively hiding behind a lovely logo and some pixels, you can't get away from the fact that a whopping great big photo of your face on the front page of your homepage is, you can't hide. That's very much you. And so, it can be really scary. And I think that is usually the reason that most people put having photos off. But as we know, often the things that we have most resistance to are the ones that we most need to do and are going to move us forward in the biggest possible way. So if you are thinking and procrastinating about it, then, my suggestion would be, just start somewhere, start somewhere by like Googling and finding a photographer that you like the look of, and have a chat with them. Just feel your way. It doesn't have to be this huge, massive, scary leap straight away and schedule a shoot for next week so you feel totally overwhelmed and just let it be. Just go there, go do a little bit and see how you get on.
Excellent advice. So, Shelley, how can other women entrepreneurs benefit from working with you? I know you have a couple of different packages that you offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to serve a different range of women and female entrepreneurs. So if you want a simple headshot package, which is just 5 edited images and can be perfect for those people that are just starting out in business, they need a few pro photos to kind of put on your about page and to send to people and all of that kind of stuff, then that is one package that I offer. Mm-hmm. And then my larger packages, there's 3 levels. There's a half-day shoot, a full-day shoot, and a weekend. Mm-hmm. And those are for lovely ladies who are ready for kind of the full lifestyle experience, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And each one of those packages includes an in-depth branding consultation beforehand, either by Skype or in person, where we will really dive deep into where your business is right now, where you want to take it, your branding. If you're going through a web redesign at the same time, then I will work with your designer to make sure everything looks consistent. And we talk about colors and branding motifs and all that kind of good stuff, and we pick locations and outfits that are going to suit you. Mm-hmm. And then it includes the photo shoot itself, which is just a lovely relaxed day or half day with me, where we will generally shoot in at least 3 locations and at least 3 outfits, so you're going to get a gorgeous range of different backdrops and looks and styles. Mm. And then I go away and I beaver away behind the scenes and do my editing and retouching. And you will then receive, depending on the package, upwards of 50 or 60 fully edited, ready to go digital images in a high resolution and social media format. So as I said before, we're very much creating a gorgeous portfolio of images which are going to be so useful to you and are going to have longevity. So, in 5 years' time, you're hopefully going to still feel good about using these images.
That sounds really exciting.
Oh, good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your fantastic just advice on how to get the best photographs for your business, and specifically all of your tips on what types of images you need to be asking for. I think that's really, really important for people who want to expand beyond just the basic headshot, which I think most of us have, but we'd like a little bit more. So that's really, really useful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And where can people find you online and learn more about you?
Well, my website is www.michellewildman.co.uk, all one word, and have a blog on there with hopefully lots of useful information and blogs and tips on photography for female entrepreneurs. Also on there, if you jump on my newsletter list, you'll have access to 2 PDF downloads, which are totally free. One of them is 9 ways to use photography to grow your business and attract your dream clients online. So that is, we picked up a little bit of that today when we were talking about the specific shots that you can request. But in there are screenshots of some previous clients of mine and their websites, and it shows you exactly how they use their images to make their websites look fabulous. The other free guide is how to prepare for your photo shoot, and that one gives you more information on how to pick things to wear for your photo shoot and which props to bring and all of that good stuff. So if you do want to learn more about photography, then please do pop over to the website and grab those free PDFs. And then also, I would say if you are on Instagram, it is absolutely my favourite social media place to hang out. So I would totally love to connect with you there. And my tagline is Michelle Wildman Photography, all one word. A bit of a long one, but it would be a pleasure to get to know you on there as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for joining us today. Very, very, very useful information.
You're so welcome. It was awesome. Thanks, Holly.
Thanks. And thank you for listening. And remember to visit readytobloom.com/118 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Ready to Bloom podcast with your host, Holly Wharton. You can find more information about today's guests, including links for topics that were discussed at readytobloom.com. That's ready, 2, bloom.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to head over to iTunes and leave us a quick review of this podcast. Thank you so much.